Welcome back to our series of biology lessons. We are still discussing this main topic, transport in animals, and we are looking at the heart. Yesterday we looked at the cardiac cycle. We looked at the two phases of the cardiac cycle. We looked at the systole. We say that it is responsible for pumping of the blood out of the heart. And the diastole, which is responsible for movement of the blood from the auricles to the ventricles. In today's lesson, we are going to look at the heartbeat. That will be our today's lesson. Yesterday, I want to ask you a question. What is the rate of heartbeat in a normal human being? You're right. It is 72 beats per minute. And this occurs when an individual is resting. Okay. The rate of heartbeat is also known as pulse rate or heart rate. And the heart rate can be increased by certain factors. One of them is, of course, fear. When somebody has fear, the heartbeat increases. When somebody is carrying out strenuous exercises, the heartbeat also increases. When the temperature increases, also the heartbeat increases. We'll later look at that. Contraction. The muscles of the heart contract and relax continuously and rhythmically, without stopping and without fatigue. So they contract and relax continuously and rhythmically without fatigue. The contraction of the heart muscles is initiated by the heart muscles themselves. It is not controlled by the brain or the central nervous system. And because of this, we say that the heart muscles are myogenic. They are myogenic because they do not rely on the brain. They initiate the contraction themselves or from within themselves. Yesterday we talked about contraction, but we did not know what brings about contraction. In Form 4, we will talk about contraction of muscles, other muscles, but in this lesson, we will talk about contraction of heart muscles because it is very important for the lesson. Contraction of muscles involves electrical signals that are initiated from one part of the body and spreads to other parts of the body through what we call the nervous system. So in other words, we are not just focusing on the muscles, but we are also focusing on the nervous system. And where signals are moved in form of electrical signals. So, the rate of contraction in heart muscle is determined by specialized tissues known as sinoatrial node. Also known as SAN. So this is located at the right auricle, and it is the one that determines the speed at which contraction occurs per minute. So in other words, it is the pacemaker. So we refer to it as pacemaker because it is the one that determines the rate of contraction of the heart muscles. Now, when contraction occurs, contraction is as a result of polarization, depolarization of these tissues. When they are depolarized, they release a wave of excitation. A wave of excitation that spreads to all parts of the heart, causing contraction of other parts of the heart. You getting that? So the wave of excitation spreads to all parts of the heart. As you can see, the arrows are showing the direction of the wave of excitation. The first part of the heart that receives this wave of excitation are the two atria. The two atria contract and in unison. They contract in unison. Then the waves converge at another specialized tissue known as atrioventricular node. Ventricular node. AVN. Now they pick, the atrioventricular node pick the wave of excitation and spread it further down. And it is picked again by another specialized tissue known as atrioventricular bundle. The atrioventricular bundle, which is also known as bundle of His, picks the wave of excitation and spreads it further down to another specialized tissue known as Purkinje tissue. Purkinje tissue. Purkinje tissue, which is located in the walls of the ventricles. And when the Purkinje tissue pick this wave of excitation, it is spreads to all parts of the heart down there. And the contraction of the whole heart occurs. So it starts from up here, moving down until it reaches the lower part of the heart. And that's what constitutes a heartbeat. That's what constitutes a heartbeat. There's something I also want to state at this point, that when the wave of excitation reaches the AVN, the spread of the wave of excitation stops for a fraction of a second, for 0.1 of a second. And that delay in spread of the wave of excitation to the lower part of the heart is to ensure that by the time the wave is spreading further down, all the atrium will have contracted fully and pumped the blood down to the ventricles before the ventricles can start contracting. So that is what heartbeat is. What are those factors that bring about increase in heartbeat? First one is the hormone, a hormone known as adrenaline, which is released when an individual is excited, like when you have fear. The second one is increase in temperature. When there is increase in temperature, the heartbeat increases, the heart rate increases. When an individual is involved in strenuous, vigorous activities or exercises, again the heartbeat increases. So that one brings us to the end of this subtopic, the heartbeat. Thank you so much.